So this question is from Para Summary, and this question came in CAT 2018. It says a Japanese government panel announced that it recommends regulating only genetically modified organisms that have had foreign genes permanently introduced into their genomes and not those whose endogenous genes have been edited. So the author says that a Japanese government panel announced that it recommends regulating only these kind of things and not those. So what are these kinds of things? Regulating only genetically modified organisms that have had foreign genes permanently introduced into their genomes and not those whose endogenous genes have been edited. The only stipulation is that researchers and businesses will have to register their modifications to plants or animals with the government, with the exception of microbes cultured in contained environments. Reactions to the decisions are mixed. While lauding the potential benefits of genome editing, an editorial opposes across the board permission. Unforeseen risks in gene editing cannot be ruled out. All genetically modified products must go through the same safety and labeling processes regardless of method. Now, there are two different parts in this paragraph. The first part speaks about the Japanese government's announcement, and the second part speaks about the reception to that announcement. So, whenever you look at paragraph, you can always break them into different parts. For instance, in this paragraph, you have two parts. One is the announcement and the reaction to that announcement. And that announcement is pertaining to the regulation of genetically modified organisms. So the government says that regulating only the genetically modified organisms that have foreign genes permanently introduced into their genes and not others. And the only requirement is that you have to register your modifications with the government. That's the only thing that has to be done. And reactions are mixed. So the mixed reaction basically means there is both lauding, both criticism and praise have come. So while lauding the potential benefits of genome editing, an editorial opposes across the board permission. So though there has been praise for the genome editing, the benefits of genome editing, across the board permission has been opposed by an editorial, and unforeseen risks in gene editing cannot be ruled out, and all genetically modified crops must go through the same safety. So we get a feeling that there is more of negativity towards the reaction, because the author seems to be focusing more on the negativity that has risen from different corners pertaining to the announcement made by the government. So the government makes announcement concerning the concerning the regulating of genetically modified organisms, and the reactions to it are a little unwelcoming. That is what we can say. So let's have a look at which option captures the essence the best. So statement one says a government panel in Japan says transgenic modification and genome editing are not the same. But that is not the point here. The point is this option is not even capturing the reaction of people, or the reaction of the media. So the reactions are, so this entire thing is very important for the whole story, and this part of the paragraph is not even captured by one, so one goes out. 2 says accepting microbes cultured in contained environments from the regulations of genome editing is premature. See, accepting microbes cultured in contained environments is not premature. In fact, if you look at this, it is basically not correct. It's not about the maturity or the prematurity of it. Premature basically means well before time. But the author seems to be saying that regulation has to be there. So rather the presence and the absence of the regulation, you're talking about the prematurity of it, which is not the concern. The concern is the regulation has to be there for everything. Why should you have exception? The exception that has been given by the government is not the right decision. This is what it says. But you're talking about premature, which is not the focus of the paragraph. Premature means well before time. The time is not yet come. But the author has nowhere said the time has not yet come. And then you look at 3, exempting from regulations. So this is the right word I wanted. The exempting from regulations, what the editing of endogenous genes is not desirable, because the endogenous genes have been not regulated. It says here that the Japanese government recommends regulating only genetically modified organisms and not those. So this is not being regulated, and exempting this is basically wrong. So exempting from regulations the editing of endogenous genes is not desirable because it might be high risk prone, and this is the risk that the factor the author seems to be talking about, right? So unforeseen risks in gene editing cannot be ruled out. So this is very much in tune with what is given in the paragraph. At least it captures the key points, the exemption point and the risk point, which has been given as a kind of criticism. And fourth says creating categories within genetically modified products in terms of transgenic modification defies laws. Again, the legal part has not even come into picture. So the laws here is not what the author seems to be focusing on. So we have statement 3 as the best choice because it captures the two parts. The first is the exemption part, and the second is the risk part, which is basically the whole point of criticism that has been thrown against the regulation. The other options go out because of the reasons that we have already discussed. So 3 is the best choice.